Wake up, goddammit. Welcome to the Taj Lounge. Why you look like that? Welcome to
What to say?
it's just this is what I say at
Got it.
welcome to the Taj Lounge show where we educate through entertainment. And you just got a little bit of entertainment right there. My guest today, good friend of mine. She's doing some great things in the Indianapolis area in real estate. And I want to bring the information to the people. As I was telling her just a few minutes ago, this is the generation of the information they want to know. And so I want to bring the information to you. Maybe some things you already know, maybe some things you didn't know. And let's see, let's educate the people. And let's see what we can get done with this conversation with my good buddy Ashley Farris-Rush. And you can look her up. Yeah, you can follow her on Instagram right now at Ashley Sells Realty. Okay. Now, how are you doing, Ashley?
I'm doing wonderful. No complaints.
All right. So, like I said before, what I wanted to do is just, it's 2022. The real estate has changed. The real estate game has changed dramatically due to COVID, due to other. Now it's going to change again, possibly with this war.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to get off into exactly, the basis, what's changed in the real estate locally and nationally, and let's get the people some information. So before we get off into all that, though, I'm gonna let you have the floor for a few minutes and let the get the people some information about yourself.
So my name is Ashley Farris-Rush, and I'm a real estate agent and broker in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I help everybody. So from investments to commercial to land to residential to leasing, whatever you need, I'm your person to come to. I'm happy to even if you just want to have a conversation about what is it that you need, or if you have questions about your credit, things like that. At least if I don't have the answer for you, I'm happy to put you in that direction so somebody can answer the question.
I'm gonna move around a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
LaBoy, bring that phone back. Don't come in here and grab another cell phone. No, please. Thank you very much. You're disturbing me. Okay. So sorry, y'all. Family life is that balance.
I'm going to move around a little bit, but so coming into this new year, how has real estate changed?
Oh, so it's changed dramatically. So as far as like the mortgage rates and as far as what homes we have, is people are saying it's not a time to buy, it's not a time to sell. It is a great time. People are misinformed because the market is so crazy. So the interest rates are around 3%, right? Wow. So your mortgage rates and your monthly interest payment will be more affordable versus what it was before. The $100,000 home that you may have wanted 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with the 12% mortgage rate versus the $150 home now that you have with the 3% mortgage rate are almost the same thing. Does that make sense? So the mortgage rates are really good. You need to take advantage of that. As far as the sellers, you have home and you're sitting on equity, you would make a lot of money, and you need to get an evaluation for your home to see how much your home is worth. We have around 2,000 homes that are actively for sale in Indianapolis, Marion County area. That includes like the McCordsville, Claremont, all those areas there. We have about 2,000 homes. In order for the market to catch up with the supply and demand, we need about 18,000 homes. So, and we only have 2,000. So that's why those houses are going so fast. So if you have a realtor that is not super creative, is not getting the help that they need as far as writing that aggressive offer, that is why it's losing. That's why you're not getting the house that you want. And it takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of consistency, and it takes patience. And with my clients, I always make sure that we communicate that from the beginning. And so that's something that's different. So the real estate market is a great market right now. The mortgage rates, the pre-approvals, the help that you can get for down payment assistance is out there. Bless you.
I don't know why I keep coughing. What's going on? Um, why is it that the information is being misinterpreted? Because not too long ago they were saying, it was probably what, maybe not even a year ago, it was saying, oh God, sell your house, sell your house, sell your house. And then a couple months later, oh, it's too late to sell the house now. You're not going to get what you could have got months ago.
It's just like going to the store. So when you go to the store and you see a pair of pants that you bought 10 years ago, now they $150, but you bought them 10 years ago for $20.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels different, right? It looks different. It feels different. So that house that used to be across the street from grandma's house, you know how much it sold for. It sold for $20,000 10 years ago. But now it's selling for $120,000 and you're asking why. It's because the market is there. People can buy them, people can put money into them, and they can use it as an Airbnb, as a rental property. They can lease it. And it also turn into an income for you that you can have as extra.
So, if somebody wants to, if it's a buyer's market right now, so pretty much is, and you don't, but there's not enough inventory, correct?
There's not enough inventory for all the buyers.
So really, the investor right now should be licking their chops, basically.
Yes. The investor's doing great right now because there's so many opportunities right now, especially in Indianapolis, where they're renewing Indianapolis and the downtown area and different places like that. Like, you can buy those houses. You can go through the program. You can fix it up. Then you can resell it, or you can rent it out, especially renting. Renting is outrageous.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's based on what they call that market rate right now.
Yes.
For rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For so if an apartment that used to be, let's say, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet, that used to be maybe 9 something a couple years back, is now probably close to 12.
Yeah. And the appreciation nationwide has increased about 15%. And so that's why you're looking at those higher prices, because the economy is doing great right now. Like, will there be a crash? I don't know if there would be a crash or not, but at the end of the day, the prices are not going to go back down. They're not going to go down.
So right now, if you were two types of people, you got one person who's looking to get a great deal on a house that they've been wanting for a while. This is a perfect time for them, but it's also a perfect time for the real estate hustler. Mm-hmm. If you want to get into real estate and you want to get some property underneath your belt, something that you can invest in, it's a great time for that as well, correct?
Correct. If you have a piece of land or a parcel that you're wanting to sell, it might be the time for you to get rid of it. It might be time for you to sell because you're sitting on equity.
Now, is there a window that you feel like people have? You don't do this within the next, let's say, 12 to 24 months, or do you think this is going to be this way for quite some time? That's locally and nationally, I'm asking.
Well, like I said, the prices are not going to go down. So, And it depends on where you're at in your life. Like, if you have the money for the down payment, for the closing costs, for the private mortgage insurance, if you have all of that, then go ahead. Don't wait for that. But if you have to wait because you have lifestyle things going on, which all of us do, then wait. 1% is not going to make that much of a difference. But don't make that the reason why you're not buying a house. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. Now, even when you just mentioned the down payment, now we know most people feel like you have to have the huge 20%. Now, kind of explain that for people. Like, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not the same. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So there are different programs that you have in order to be approved for a home. You have a FHA, you have the veterans, you have the FHA conventional, you have the FHA 360, you have conventional loans, you have all types of stuff. So it depends on where you qualify. There's some loans that you think that you can't have a bankruptcy. There's some loans that you can have a bankruptcy. There's a physician loan. There's all types of loan programs. You just have to make sure that you educate yourself and know what you can be approved for. You do not have to have a super high credit score either. So I'm talking like in some loans, you only have to have as low, you can have as high as a 585. People think they have to have a 700 credit score and they don't. Like, It's
Yeah, I thought you least had to be somewhere in the sixes though.
nope. You can remix it. You can remix it. So if there's ways to figure it out, and that's why working with a local mortgage lender is a plus. Like the ones that you are going to online that you see on TV and stuff, support your local lenders too. So you're able to call them. So you're able to talk to them. Some of them will even come to your house and get the information that you need, and they are your liaison. They're your guide to get you to the loan. Because at the end of the day, you don't know everything. Ask those questions. And what's the worst that they can say is no, not right now. But with all my clients, if it's not right now, then we do have a plan in place to where I'm following up to making sure I'm holding you accountable, and then so is the mortgage lender. So we work as a team.
What is I know now I was in real estate years ago. And it didn't take that long to close out on the house. What's the time frame now?
So it just depends. So I have done closings within 15 days.
Okay.
So it depends on the loan that you get. Sometimes that's a push for your offer that you put, your purchase agreement that you put to the selling agent. It just depends. It doesn't take that long though. It does not take that long.
Now I'm just going to ask this stupid question, just because
questions are stupid.
Well, most people probably know the answer to this, but I just want to do this anyway, just to reiterate. What's the process if somebody wants to, get a home? Has it changed? Is there different ways you can do it now? What's the process today?
So you call a realtor that you want to work with, preferably me, but I understand if you choose somebody else. But you can work with somebody. You call your realtor. They will normally, like I send mortgage lenders that I've worked with in the past. I give them 3 options. You shop around. These are the 3 that I would love for you to work with. They will do a good job. Choose one of them. If I think it's more geared towards like Spanish speaking clients, then I will send them to a Spanish speaking mortgage lender that I deal with on a normal basis. Okay. If I know somebody can do it with a rescore, I will send them to a person that can rescore them within a couple months. Or if I know somebody has a solid file, I'll send them to somebody else. So it depends on what they have going on. I'll shoot them the information they need. It's a 7-minute application, maybe 10, depends on how much information you know about yourself. And after that, it is game on. We either have a guide for you and then we create a plan, or we get the pre-approval letter and we start looking for a house.
Okay. Now you mentioned earlier, like I said, I'm going to move around a little bit, but you mentioned earlier about that you also deal with land as well, right? So I just had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and that's like his next step, wanting to buy land. What is the process in doing that? Like, who do you call? How do you know who owns this land? How do you know how much it's worth?
It's the same thing. So like working, like in my instance, in what I've done in the past, like if somebody says, "Hey, Ashley, I want this piece of land," I'm looking up the tax records. I'm looking up the space. I'm looking to see if it's ready for sewage. If it's ready for utilities, those things like that. So I'm doing the background work, and then I'm calling the people. If you tell me that you want something, I'm going to call those people. Like I said, persistence. So I'm calling them. I'm going to talk to them. And that's where I've gotten a lot of my clients in the past, was just by calling them. I'm reaching out to them like, "Hey, are you ready to sell your land? I just sold land down the street for this much. So do you want to sell it yours now?" And they'll be like, "You know what? I've been thinking about it." And that's how it works. And then you have your 40 acres and a mule. Oh.
So let's say, and I'm going to go to this. Like I said, I'm going to move around. Let's say somebody wants to be an agent or they want to be a broker. I actually know somebody who's actually just got done taking that hard test.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, and this is a very intelligent brother. He even said he struggled. You know what I mean? So if somebody wants to, get off into that business, is there a certain criteria anybody can get into it? What is the process with that?
So you have to just be dedicated, right? You have to make sure you're putting in those hours, that you're studying, that you're taking the test. And it's not cheap either. So it's not something I can take a test and I can just do this tomorrow. It's not cheap. So you're paying the fees, you're getting in there. But after you take your state and national exam, or after first, let me start over. After you take your class and then you pass your state exam and your national exam, in the meantime of passing, you should be interviewing brokerages. You should be interviewing brokerages, look up their reviews, see what other people have said about them, follow them, see who you have that interaction with that you can relate to. Because every brokerage isn't right for that specific person. So you find that where you could be a good fit, potentially see yourself, and you just gauge from there.
What is one of the biggest misconceptions about the business?
The biggest misconception is that it's cheap. People really just think that you don't have to pay for stuff. Like you don't have to pay for business cards. You're not having to pay for signage. You're not having to pay to market. You're not, even though your brokerage helps out with a lot of that, the MIBOR fees, different things like that are fees that you have to pay for. And it's fine. It comes as a part of the business like you have to pay for any other business and investing in yourself. But just know that it's not free. Like nobody is giving you free stuff at the end of the day, and nobody's giving you free leads either. So you're not getting, it's not like your phone is ringing off the hook as soon as you get your license.
Right. Now, see, I think that's where people get, as soon as they get into it and they got the license and they want to start, I think that's where they get lost at. Because how are you going to generate leads? How do you get people to trust you? Like, how did you, I don't know if you can even talk about this, but how did you get people to trust you on your first time when you was first getting out there?
It's people that I knew. It was people that I communicate with. It's people that can know me and can vouch and say, contact Ashley. Like she'll take
hell
care of you.
Hell no, call her.
And so that's just what it is. It's that the people know that I'm going to work hard for them, and I got them. So it's just being comfortable. And plus, once I meet a person one time, anyways, like it's usually really just.
Oh, okay, you're just cocky with it, huh?
Just ooh, I'm just playing.
But no, I just want people to understand, because I do know a lot of people that's just just about to get started in the business. I know people that want to get into business, and I just want them to hear it from somebody who's already in it and that's doing it. That is just not jump in and we just start selling houses.
Yeah, just don't just get discouraged though. Like whenever you get into it, you pass your test and you're there, and you don't have any phone calls. You don't have nobody in your friend group is looking for a house. Their aunties, your uncles not looking for a house. Don't get discouraged. Just keep continuing to work on your business. Continue to grow. Make yourself uncomfortable. As soon as you're uncomfortable, things will start flowing, and just master that. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I do every day too. Like I'm not always comfortable talking to certain people, but that's where I have to talk to them.
You don't like. Oh.
Sometimes people be like spooking me. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute.
I can't imagine you I've always been confident. I can't imagine you being kind of scared to talk to somebody.
Because sometimes people just be like, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to talk about real estate, and you don't want to be like, well, come on, just talk about it right now. Let's just talk about this. Those are the conversations. I'm not like, I can talk to people about anything, but like I don't want to be that person, you know, like I don't want to be that person where she just got on my nerves. I do not feel like talking to her right
now. Now, when it comes to real estate investing, right? You know, I know in certain cities right now, everything is going up. Like I got a buddy out in California, and he told me the house that he wanted was X amount of dollars, and now it's like $5 million within a couple of years. Like, does location matter? Bless you. All right.
Goodness. Excuse me, y'all.
Does location matter in the success of your investing? You know, when you're investing in real estate from a business standpoint, not from buying a house. Based on, yeah.
Of course. So location, proximity, all those things to take into factor. And you also have to know who you are wanting to attract whenever you are investing to. So you want to know what your client is. But based on location and proximity and things like that, you are always able to market towards the people, your customer. And so you can always maneuver it to where it's going to work for you. It can be profitable, and it'll be good for your business.
Is it still beneficial to, like, I know the Airbnb business is taking off.
Mhm.
I just did my first Airbnb this past weekend.
Good for you. Like you
Yeah,
stayed there, you started one.
yeah, I stayed there. Yeah, yeah.
See, I like
But
staying in Airbnbs.
it's we'll talk about that later. But first experience wasn't the best. But
Was it dirty?
no, we'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
it wasn't dirty. It was actually it wasn't it was cool house. It's just something that uh, they've neglected to inform us on, and we had to find
Hopefully
out
they
on
didn't
our
have
own.
cameras in the closet.
Nah, it's close, close, close,
Oh my gosh.
close. Yeah, close. But it's almost beneficial. I know back when I was in it, renting and real estate money, rent money was great, even though people didn't like to pay their rent.
You
It
got
was
it. They'll pay it eventually.
it was great. Now in 2022, is the renting out property still good, or is it better to buy, fix up, and flip? In your opinion?
Both of them are great. Both of them are great. There are so many duplexes right now that are for sale that
Mm-hmm.
are ready to be flipped, and you can make it into an Airbnb. You can make it into a rental property. Income properties are always going to be great. It just depends. Do those
Mm-hmm.
numbers, but with income property, it's income that's always going to be consistent. That one check, you want to get one check or do you want to get multiple? And so I would either way is great. Either
Now,
way,
do you now? Because and I'm just and like I said, we just going through it, but I didn't have a property management at the time. Do you
mhm.
suggest people if they're going to get off into renting out properties that they have a property manager?
If they do not have the time to give their tenant, then yes. If they
Okay.
do not want to be that person that they're calling on the phone, then yes. So I have several doors that I manage for people,
Mm-hmm.
but that is just because I enjoy it. They don't have to even talk to the resident. They don't have to even get the rent checks from the resident because it's all a system. They appreciate that. So it depends on how much you want to be into your business. Property management just makes that you are not being bothered unless it's
Yeah.
by a property manager. So it depends on your lifestyle and what you want to do, and you decide from there.
Now, if somebody wants to, let's say they buying their first property, right?
Mm-hmm.
For an investment, um, they're buying their first investment property. How do you know? How does that person know, the investor know, if if the price they pay for this house
Mm-hmm.
is a good deal or not?
Well, the
Like, if
invest
let's say they don't really have, they just know they want to get a property and rent it out. And I'm talking about the beginner. You know what I mean? The person just
Mhm.
getting started in the business. How how can they make sure that they're not getting screwed over on this sale of this house?
And you're talking about like the worst of the properties, right?
Yeah, I'm
So,
just I mean, this is general because yeah.
so what I would suggest is that whenever you make that appointment with your realtor to go over there, that you also make an appointment with your contractor to go with you, or you make another appointment to go back with your contractor. So you can have that contractor is going to say, this is going to cost this, this, and this. And you get that stand-up person that's going to tell you exactly what you need to put in there, and also be able to create that spreadsheet to say, this is how much money. Let me sit down. Let me get this bid together so I can know how much we're putting in this as far as plumbing, roofing, everything. And let me also get the information about what has been done in this home, what's been repaired, what's been replaced, so I can put those together and get you a reasonable number. So you just have to have that team.
Okay, now and I'm just like I said, I'm asking these questions for those who are just starting now. But how what a person um, know if they have the right, if they got the right team as far as somebody's gonna go in there and give them the. And I'm let me go. I had the experience,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't want nobody else to go through the same mess that I went through when I was early in the game. Didn't know, and I
Mm-hmm.
was going based off what somebody else was just telling me, and me end up in a bad situation, right? So and overpaid for houses,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm just asking for those individuals like myself who went through it before. How do you know if you have, this the right people, man, and just the right whole situation, so you don't end up in that situation that I was in.
So I know that I will do a comparative analysis on the houses that have been sold that are very, very much like the house that you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
Once I do that, I'll give you a price. This is what it's listed for. I'm suggesting that you offer something between this and this, but you let me know where you want to come in. They just had a roof that's 8 years old. Their plumbing is bad. They have sewage leaks. There's not pipes right in the municipal system. All of that. They already have it in the disclosure. So I'll just make sure I highlight that. Also give you the comparative analyst. And then I'll be like, hey, Taj, do you want to go back with your contractor and walk through this house again? I'll block out an hour for us to be there. We'll go through everything and we'll put how much money we might have to put into this home. And then you can make the informed decision as an investor to be able to make that offer that you want. Once we get past that offer part and we have this house and you walk in and something else messes up, that's just a chance that you're willing to take. Because there's no real way to say there's not going to be anything that happens in this house. But if it's like a house that you know that needs to be gutted down, like you just have to make sure that you have that as a part of your money that you're going to have to spend.
Okay. Now, as far as Indianapolis goes, what's the market like in Nap right now?
The market is great in Indianapolis. McCordsville, Sheridan, all this guys, Zionsville, Westfield, Greenwood.
It's just not enough inventory in the city, but the market itself is because as we know, they're building up instead of building out. You know what I mean? It's more apartments and condos, and so
but they have to build more apartments and condos because we need more places to go.
Okay.
Because people are selling their homes. So like right now, if you sell your house and you're trying to move it, like you put your house on the market today, they want to close in a week. You may not be able to find a house. You might have to go and Airbnb it until you find a house or you find an apartment, because apartments they have little availability in the desirable neighborhoods.
So maybe you could touch on this too. I know there's certain areas that they're rebuilding. They've been rebuilding them for like the last 10 years. They've been slowly building up the downtown area. But why are they building more apartments? Why not we building more homes? If the market is great, why are we building more apartments and not building more homes?
A lot of people are going to living in more apartments. Mm-hmm. And it's just to get everything even with one another. Like there's properties that are in Westfield, there's properties that are in Greenwood. Like it's just that preference. And then there's a lot of home builders that are not able to keep up with the market before because there was such delay in materials. And so those are some things to take into account. However, they're building the housing additions just as fast as they're building the apartments. And you get to make that decision if you want to rent a house or do you want to rent an apartment or you want to buy a house. Either way.
Now I was having a discussion with somebody and they were saying because the new generation, the young generation, they're not marrying, they're not building families like that. They more so just, to themselves, they want to live in apartments. They don't want the responsibility of having a home. So is that pretty accurate to a certain extent?
I don't think that's true because I'm a property manager. Mm-hmm. And I have people that are fresh out of high school all the way up to 70, 80 years old. So it's just a preference for that specific person. It's just a preference.
Because like when I'm out in the city, it's like they stick in apartments wherever they can find space.
Mm-hmm. And why wouldn't you? Like if you're an owner and if you're an investor, Taj,
yeah,
you have $20 million to put into an apartment community that has 200 doors, and you're charging people $1,300 to $1,900 a month in rent. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, come on with it. And now I noticed too, maybe you could speak on this, that leasing has changed too. Like it used to be, you mostly everybody did 12 months. Now you're finding situations where they want to lock you in for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So is that going to be is that the new shift as
It's
well?
it's not really a shift. It's really based on availability. So it's based on what your property management company wants. So like if I have with these new communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have these buildings opening up every month, and I have 24 people moving into this 24 apartment building. I don't want everybody's lease to end in 12 months because that means I'm going to lose a lot of people if they do not renew, especially if the market keeps appreciating and these people are wanting to now be first-time home buyers. So I'm going to make 13-month leases, 14-month leases, 20-month leases, 24-month leases. So everybody can be staggered. So I'm not going to have mass move outs every single month until I'm stabilized.
But some of these apartments are like ridiculous in the price. I got a friend of mine who's he told me a price of one that I saw. It was 2 bedroom, simple little 2 bedrooms, but it wasn't even that big. It was $3,000-$4,000.
But you're paying for the amenities. You're paying for the location and proximity. You're paying to not have to cut grass. You're paying to say, hey, Michael, my sink is leaking. Come fix my sink. You're paying for your trash to be sit outside your front door. You're paying for your light bulb to be changed. You're paying for a convenience when you live in an apartment.
And that's true, but I'm like $4,000 for this.
$4,000, you don't have to even touch no ice, no gas for the lawnmower. You don't have to cut the grass. All you have to do on Sundays is this.
But I'm like this: if all these apartments are going up in this and it's a lot of really in downtown area,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I just know one just went up recently. And if everybody's paying, this is the going rate. Where all this money coming from?
You're paying for location. That's it with everything. Where is the money coming from?
Yeah, like I thought Nap was doing. The last time I checked, the numbers wasn't that. Nap was struggling to get money. So where's everybody's come up just $4,000 to stay
Same,
on?
the same place the money for the extra dollar in gas that was less than last year. The same place where the milk is coming from. Milk was $2 just a year ago. The same thing. Everything is appreciating, like everything, except
So
for your income.
exactly.
But that's what they say too. So if they're saying like first time home buyers, like the average rate of a home right now is $249. I mean $249,000. Sorry. So with that being said, you're all the first time home buyer in 10 years may not be able to afford their first time home because it's going to be so expensive that it may not work for them. But I don't know. You don't know.
So in a nutshell, the market is great. It's a great time to sell. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time to move around. And so if people are thinking about it or want to do it, whether they want to invest or buy their own, buy a new home or whatever. Well, let's say you already have. Let's talk about that. Let's say you currently have a home now.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the questions I got was, should you sell the home you have first before you buy a new home, or is it okay to go ahead and get the new home and sell it later? What is your thoughts
So
on that?
it depends on what you're comfortable with. As long as you are super transparent with your client, as far as the expectations that you have, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to sell your home and buy a new home in the matter of time that it is to close. So a
So,
lot of
not to cut you off, but based on what you said, it's a great time to sell your house because there's not a lot of inventory out there.
but
So, okay, go ahead.
so just the contingency that you have to be able to know that you have to look. The availability may be there, but you can always be looking while you're selling too. So like when people are at your house looking around, you be out looking at your house, at your new house.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you have a plan in place. If you know that you're gonna list your house on a Thursday, it's gonna be sold by Friday or Sunday, and you need to start getting everything cleaned up and out of there and start moving gradually, just make sure you have a plan in place. Make sure you have somewhere to store your stuff. Make sure that you have an apartment to go to. Make sure there's a plan in place. Even if you're going on somebody's wait list in an apartment, and you put on your and you list your home and say, I it's suitable based on reasonable housing. Find something that's reasonable for you, but make sure that it's working in your favor, because the seller does have the upper hand on when everything closes.
Okay. Now, what about property taxes? Is what's the property taxes look like in Indianapolis right now? Is it, or even this nationwide, is property taxes going up everywhere? Is it pretty stable right now?
It just depends on the location for
Mm-hmm.
taxes. They vary. It depends. Some, like I've seen that some taxes in some areas are $4,000 semi-annual, and then I've seen some that are 116. So depends on the area that you're in.
116 what?
Dollars.
Oh, I was going to say, what the hell? Where the hell they
No,
live?
not here.
Okay, okay, somewhere else. Okay, cool. So, um, I hope I covered everything that I covered because all right, I think I got everything. What is there anything else we think we need left out?
I don't know. I don't know. That's just something you can talk about all day.
Well, what they because I want to just get like I said, I want just to give people some information that they probably already knew, but just some refreshing information and maybe some information that they did know. And
Mm-hmm.
we touched on a little bit of that, but is there
People
anything?
not to be afraid. Like, don't set the expectations so high. Like, if you want to be a homeowner,
Mhm,
you need to go after being a homeowner. You need to
mhm.
figure out what it is that you need, and you need to listen to your realtor.
Now you have entrepreneurs, these YouTube entrepreneurs, these
Mm-hmm.
billionaires that'll tell you that buying a house is a bad investment because you never outlive the loan, the bank makes the money, blah blah blah. What is your thought process on what is your opinion on that for those who say buying a house is a bad investment? It's not an asset; it's actually a liability.
It is definitely an asset to me. Like, I don't believe that at all. I
Hmm.
believe that you're sitting on equity when you buy a home. It's yours. If you take out a loan for that home, you sit on it for a couple years. Say you sit on it for 5 years, you still gain equity in your home, and you can sell your home. So it's yours. The same with land, that is yours.
Hmm.
And I think it's a great real estate is a great investment. It's the best investment.
Now, as far as commercial property, we haven't really talked about that, but as far as commercial property, it's probably the last thing I touch on. What is the commercial property like? And like, is it total different process? And that's a certain, certain buildings, certain property you can go after some. You're not based on the business that you run.
So it just depends on how it's zoned too. And you
Hmm.
also can get things rezoned if you want.
Hmm.
It that does involve money too. There's residential, commercial. There's different zones, and so in a lot of commercial buildings, you just pay a lease to that, or you can buy it, or you can use it to what it's zoned for. You just have to make sure you have the zoning correctly, and you know what it's zoned for.
Is it a good time to get off into commercial as well as it is, as good as it is right now for residential?
I think it's a good time for all real estate, like I said. If you are doing a commercial and you know that you have a business and you're wanting to do something in a building that you see,
Hmm.
get it and try it. And if you can't, resell it.
All right. I mean,
That
simple enough, I guess.
it is what it is.
What inspired you to get off into real estate?
So I have been in property management for a long time.
Hmm.
And I've always wanted a real estate license. Like, I love being in old houses. I love being in new houses. I love new construction. I love everything about houses. And so, and real estate within itself, land, all of that. I love when people buy land. I love when people by commercial buildings. I love to see people elevate.
Mm-hmm.
And so real estate, that's why real estate is for me. Um,
Okay.
I'm more excited than the person that's buying the home or
Mm-hmm.
the commercial lot, whatever, because I see that person elevating, and I just want people just to do what's best for them.
Okay. That's what's up. Now, I always ask my guest this. There's no right or wrong answer to this. Okay.
Oh Lord.
No, it's nothing crazy. Look, it's nothing crazy. All
Okay.
right. It's all right. This is an interview, right? It's nothing crazy. It's not the Ice Lounge Taj, okay?
No. Okay. Um,
No, I just want you to give people your three keys to success. I like to always ask guests to give that at the end because everybody has a different perspective on that. So, what are your three keys to success? And they do not. It is not. It does not have to be tied to real estate.
keep a positive mind,
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself, and be consistent and persistent. And that's
Touchdown.
all. Make sure you're the best version of yourself every day, y'all.
All right,
Every
that.
day.
I definitely appreciate the time. Y'all make sure you follow Ashley on
Follow
Instagram.
me.
And you can see her IG handles right there. If you're looking for her in the local, you are silly in the local Indianapolis area. You take care of what land, commercial, residential, the whole
All of
nine.
your real estate needs.
All your real estate needs.
If you want to get pre-approved, you know where to come to. I got you.
Touchdown. Well, thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. I'll holler at you later.
All right, bye.